You're listening to the All Systems Go podcast, the show that teaches you everything you need to know to put your business on autopilot. Learn how to deploy automated marketing and sales systems in your business the right way with your host, the professor of automation himself and founder of Automation Bridge, Chris Davis.
Welcome to the All Systems Go podcast. I'm your host, Chris L. Davis, founder of Automation Bridge, an online publication for small business automation. In this episode, I want to describe the difference between sales and marketing automation. Too often are they lumped together as being one and the same, when in fact, they are very different both in nature and in execution. So you're going to learn which one is more important in your business or for your business. But before we do that, if you're new to the podcast, please make sure you listen to this episode and subscribe and share. You'll find this podcast in every podcasting app, but mainly Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, which means you don't even have to download any additional software to your smartphone to be able to access this podcast. Okay. And while you're at it, if you could leave a 5-star rating and review, it will be greatly appreciated. I want to give a shout out to Tanya Brody. She left an amazing comment, 5-star rating and review in iTunes. She says, if Chris says you should be doing something with your automation, you should follow his lead. Chris has worked with numerous companies and has seen a lot of situations where automation is badly needed. Fortunately for us, he's decided to share this wisdom in his new podcast so we can all know about the latest and greatest automation ideas. As a small business owner and someone who works for the small businesses, I'm beyond excited to keep learning from Chris and implement his ideas for myself and my clients. Tanya, thank you so much, as well as everybody else that has left a review. And I want to encourage you all again, listen to this. If you're getting value, please leave a 5-star rating and review. So for this episode, let me just start by saying I love marketing. My introduction to business was through marketing, more specifically, marketing online. And that's important because I never really understood marketing until I started to work in the startup space. You know, one could make the statement that technology taught me marketing. You know, because beforehand, I just thought it was pushy and salesy. The used car salesman was the image that I had for both marketing and sales. Right. I just lumped it in. And I was making the same mistake many people make, thinking marketing and sales are one and the same, and they're not. So remember, for this episode, I'm going to be speaking from the perspective of automation, which means the inclusion of technology. So again, the backdrop for me is business existed, marketing existed, sales existed. It wasn't until technology intersected with marketing online that it caught my attention. And if I'm to be even more specific, it was through internet marketers. I was following a lot of the big names, the Brendon Burchards, Jeff Walkers, Pat Flynn's, back in the day, looking like, wow, look at what they're doing online. The 4-hour work week, right? Introduced me to technology, reducing hours from your work week and increasing your pay, right? So technology was the introduction. And then when I got into space, since technology, when I say introduction, it was to business, and then specifically to business marketing, that was my focus. That is why I'm dedicated to the marketing automation space as I am, is because I was introduced to business through automated marketing. So by default, I would like to think that marketing is the best thing for any business, right? But when we're talking about automation, right, the inclusion of technology, marketing and sales, let me take a step back and refer to my original definition of marketing automation I gave on a previous episode. And then we'll derive from that the definition of sales automation so we can start to build a case and see which one is most important. And I define marketing automation as hiring technology to execute your marketing strategy, right? I'm not relying on people. I'm looking at technology That's the primary. Hey, how can I use this tool to execute my strategy, with the emphasis being on me having a strategy? There is no automation that exists without a strategy to guide it, to dictate what it does. Okay? Because remember, automation is stupid. It requires intelligence to work. But automation, it's just going to do what you tell it to do. Oh, you want me to send an email every day to the same person with typos? Okay. Do. Right? Automation is just going to do that. And more importantly, automation is just going to magnify you, magnify the instructor or the manager. Automation magnifies the manager of the platform or the process. So if you don't know what you're doing and you automate that, now more people just know you don't know what you're doing. Right? So that's in that definition of marketing automation. Now, if we move to sales automation, it's the same thing. We're just swapping out one word. The definition of hiring technology to execute your sales strategy. So you have a marketing strategy and a sales strategy. If you haven't seen it by now, you can see that the two are drastically distinct, right? And maybe that's not clear. So let me take a step back and let me just talk about what marketing and sales, which each one of those are. Okay. And I'm going to oversimplify this because the second I start to try to define marketing, I'll say one thing that may be 20% accurate or 50% accurate. And everybody, the savvy marketers, will be thinking about the other 50% I didn't say. Right. Like everybody will start breaking down. Oh, well, marketing is really this. And I have my philosophers and everything will get lost in translation. So I'm going to oversimplify it and say this. Marketing produces sales qualified leads for sales. Sales produces customers. If you think of it in that broad scope, everything falls under both marketing and sales in that essence. Right? So again, I'm not going to get into the weeds, but think about how the process, and I'm talking about your business, the process that you're using in your marketing to produce sales qualified leads, and then the process of those sales qualified leads turning into customers. Right? And it's important to dictate, define, and differentiate the two, because they are different and they both deserve their own separate attention. I've always had this vision. I'm a big basketball fan. So I've always had the vision when I think of marketing and sales as the alley-oop, right? Marketing throws the pass up, sales catches it and dunks it, right? But it's not until you dunk it that you score, right? So if the shot is missed, it's either a bad pass or a bad dunk or both. Right? There are many cases where the pass was off and the person couldn't jump in business. I'm speaking figuratively. Okay. But that's how I think of it. It's this, and this is where the term alignment comes from, because both have to be in sync in order to score, in order to create the customer. So that's what brings us to the topic of discussion today. Which one is greater? Which one is greater? So let me say this. I acknowledge that they're both equally important, but there is one that is greater than the other. You need both. Okay. So just in case you thought, hey, Chris is going to tell me I don't need marketing. Hey, I don't need sales. Yes. Right. He just simplified it for me. I knew I wasn't crazy. No, you need both. Sorry, you do. And it's not a bad thing. You should be excited about that, because what experience has shown me this. I'm going to put myself out there and expose a little bit of my ignorance as I grew as a professional, and hopefully that will help you. Okay. So there were two situations that helped me really understand this dynamic. Okay. And it came from working for two different companies, just so different, right? One company had great marketing, Okay sales, right? And I say okay sales because when I say sales, I'm thinking of longevity of sales. Okay, so if you were good for 1 year and not so good the next year and not as good the following year, I can't look at the first year and say they were great at sales, right? Overall, the lifetime that I experienced, it was okay. Okay, that's one case. All right, the second case, it was bad marketing, but great sales. Great sales. And the underlying factor in both of these cases that I want to introduce and I don't ever want you to overlook is product market fit, right? How well does your product meet the immediate needs of a particular audience? Okay, because product market fit, you could argue, you know what? While we're talking about product market fit, you could argue that sales are a byproduct of product market fit. Just because you have product market fit doesn't mean that it's going to automatically generate sales for you, but it's going to put you in a position to not need to be as good at sales to get sales. That's the importance of product market fit. It's huge. So in the first case, we had great marketing, okay sales. What happened is over time, product market fit slipped. And that was the nature of it. You know, what you once held a position in the market strong, had a tight kung fu grip on it. And then technology changed, the needs of the user, expectations, all of that. And the product market slipped. The product market fit slipped, which made sales harder and put a stress on a lot of other areas in the business. Okay. But on the other side, with a company that terrible marketing, you know, just let me not say terrible because it was non-existent. Let me say that. And by non-existent, I mean, it wasn't producing any results really. Right. Like it very sales heavy. Right. But great product market fit. I mean, the fit was undeniable. People were practically coming looking to sign up. In that event, the sales cycle is as fast as somebody can type in their name. It's like the perfect situation, right? And this company will go on and scale through sales. And this is where I was humbled, everybody. So I'm coming to you as a humbled individual. Okay. This podcast is a sign of my submission, because what this taught me was that sales truly does solve all woes in business. And I'm speaking general. Of course, there's some cases where it's like, no, but I've got bad leadership and I've got that. I get the dynamics. I'm speaking broadly to make a point. Okay. Marketing helps. But sales is the solution to many struggling businesses. If I tasked you right now to pause this podcast and say, look at the revenue generated last year, month over month, with respect to this year, how you've gotten started off, you're either going to walk away from that exercise encouraged or depressed. And that's just the honest truth. If you've got strong sales numbers, you feel unstoppable. You're like, man, let's open up a new location. Let's do this. The world is mine. You know, like you're looking for opportunity. Low sales, you're questioning opportunity. Should I do this? should I spend money on that? Maybe I could do it myself. Right? It's the power of sales. Money flowing in the business keeps it alive. So as a marketer, I wrestled with this for a while because I couldn't see a world. And again, this is me being humbled, everybody. I couldn't see a world where a company could succeed without good marketing. I couldn't. I couldn't fathom it. And it challenged me daily. And it really, like I said, I wrestled with this. And then I worked for one and recency bias started to happen. Worked for a company that didn't have any marketing acumen and still grew, still scaled, still scaling. And while I was in the situation, I started to realize, you know what? I have this fight going to be better at marketing. Let me take a step back because things are still working in some capacity, just not how I'm used to seeing it and how I will prefer. but it's not my company. So let me get in alignment with what is, what the vision is here. And that's when I started to see, oh, wait a minute. We're stacking the deck. We're stacking the sales deck. I get it. And it's working because product market fit is there. Right? So then again, recency bias kicks in. And I start looking at all of these other successful companies, large and small, corporations and startups, right? That when you look at their marketing, you're just like, that doesn't make sense. Look at that email. That can't be making money. And the truth is, many of the marketing efforts that you see of other companies are not producing income. A lot of these companies, as they grow, have a mandated marketing budget that they have to spend. They listen, I have seen companies spend hundreds of thousands a month on Facebook advertising simply for brand awareness. And by the way, brand awareness is the non-marketer's excuse for I don't know what I'm doing. Right? Like they spend dollars on marketing. It doesn't produce anything. And they default, well, brand awareness. People are finding out about us. Right? It's like the cheapest substitute for a result. But you'll acknowledge a novice marketer say that. They're all about brand awareness. It's terrible, right? Because we need to produce a result. But I started to see this being on the back end, being invited in as a consultant to many companies. And you're like, oh, my goodness, people are looking up to you and you are not doing it. Your marketing is not producing what it looks like it is. This is why I'm very skeptical of marketing just in general online. I don't believe anything. Any company, I don't care. When people interview, VPs of marketing, CMOs and all that, I don't look at their title and think like, oh, they've got to know what they're doing. They're a CMO. Clearly they know how to market. They're a VP. Clearly they know how to market. No, they don't. Remember my previous episode where I told you marketing software companies do not equal marketing. Just because they're already in a controlled, structured environment where perhaps they only have to know a fraction of marketing. Maybe they just need to know how to plan marketing, right? How to build a marketing team. But you as a small business, you need to know how to strategize, how to execute, how to optimize, how to analyze, right? It's more to it. And here you are listening or watching some company that really is not producing any tangible results, any real revenue with their marketing. And you're taking it as the gospel saying, hey, look, I need a newsletter that's built like this. We need to custom code it because that's how we're going to make money. No, it's not. Because the model that you're following, they're not even making money doing that. But since they're bigger, since they've got more money, you think what they're doing is right. I'm just not that easily persuaded anymore. I realize the ignorance of companies of all sizes, and you have to prove it to me. OK, so with all that, I started to see many companies that had a strong product and strong sales with weak marketing make it. And it frustrated me until I said, Chris, why are you mad at this? Right? Like, it's no offense to marketing. It was almost like I was trying to protect marketing. Like, no, you need marketing. You can't be successful without it. Like I was pleading. And the reality is I just had to submit. So again, this podcast is my submission. Not that marketing and sales are in competition. They're not. I had to stop doing that. Right? They're not fighting each other. In fact, they're fighting for alignment. But oftentimes we think of them as competing, just as I did. I had to make that shift. I had to acknowledge, listen, you're just as important. Hey, sales rep. I've always had a good rapport with sales folks, by the way. Love sales folks. I know in my previous podcast, I talked about support folks. Overall, I love people. Anybody that's worked with me in any capacity knows that I'm a people person. So I understand the role of everybody. Okay. And again, that helped me understand like marketing has a role, sales has a role. Okay. So now with this new submission, my eyes are open. I'm seeing recency bias is showing me, hey, look at this company that has really strong sales and not so good marketing. Make it. Look at this company that had really good marketing and not so good at sales and slipping product market fit. They won't be here in a few years. And then look at this company that has both. Those are the gems, everybody. Companies that have both. I love them. Oh my gosh. They get me going. I'm honored and blessed to be able to work with some of them as I record this podcast right now. Okay. So just think about it like this. If you could choose between more leads or more sales, which would you prioritize? I know both are important. Look, a savvy marketer just said right when I said that, both. Why not both? I get it. Trust me, I get it. I'm posing this question for a reason. Because they have to be prioritized. They're not on the equal playing field. If you had to choose, if you were in a situation where you had to say, which one are you going to take? Your business is crushed. It's going to fail any minute now. Do you want more marketing or more sales? 9 times out of 10, you choose more sales, you're going to make it. Okay. Just for the sake of prioritization. Most businesses will fail from a lack of sales before a lack of marketing. I like, there's 2 quotes that come to mind. I like what Damon John said. He says, in fact, this is where I started to really pay attention because the sharks on Shark Tank, I think it was Mark Cuban, would always ask for sales and be like, hey, sales solves all woes. And they would say that. I'm like, why do they keep saying that? Now I get it. Trust me, I get it. Not like as of today. I mean, there was a time that it clicked in the past and, I'm a proponent of that. But Damon John says, if I invest in a CEO, I need him or her to have experience in sales. That's what Damon John said. Harvey Mackey says, to me, job titles don't matter. Everyone is in sales. It's the only way we stay in business. If you're in business, you're in sales. And with that, comes an honest truth that may be tough to stomach. Okay. This one may be tough to swallow, but you may not be the best salesperson for your own business. And I say that out of love and genuine care for your success. But it's just like marketing. I mentioned this in the previous episode. It takes a different type of personality and will to be good at sales. Listen, good sales folks know it's almost like they're mute. They don't hear it. And if they do hear it, it doesn't penetrate. Some of you, rejection hurts. Like it will depress you. You've got one sales call today. You get on that call, and if they say no, your whole world is rocked. Whereas somebody who's got that sales tenacity, they've heard no 20 times today, and they're ready to make 20 more calls. It's a different type of mindset, a sales mindset. So for you, you may be uncomfortable making a sale. It may make you nervous. You have all of these negative connotations. I don't want to come off as salesy or pushy. I have value to give. I don't want them to think that I just want their money. I really care for people. All of those can be true, and you can be good at sales. Okay? Like you can have integrity. You could be for the people. You could have a heart for your audience, and you can make sales. Like they're not exclusive. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs, they make it exclusive to where they say, hey, I can either be friendly or I can make a fortune. And I'm on this call and I don't want to say the price. So, hey, how many kids do you have? Oh, yeah, me too. Oh, yeah, that's great. You're in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta. Hey, have you ever been to Disney World? And before you know it, you made good friends on this call and walked away and nothing transacted but laughs, jokes, and high fives. Right? So you default to being friendly instead of moving them forward in the sales process. If these are things that you're doing, you have 2 options. One is give in, learn sales, and be uncomfortable and do what it takes. 2, you need to hire somebody. You need to hire somebody to do your sales. And sales takes place so many different ways now. I knew a very I'll say $1 million influencer that was terrible at sales. Great at inspiring, even decent at marketing, very personable, but couldn't make a sale to save his business, honestly. and it was stuck. And a buddy of mine we were brainstorming. And what he ended up doing was like interviewing this guy and chopping up the interview and putting it in the form of a pitch at the end of a webinar. And it closed. So his salesperson was him with a Frankenstein pitch in the form of a video. So you can be creative. That's what technology allows us to do. But if you're not that person to ask for the sale and make the sale, you don't need to be. Your business shouldn't be relying on you for sales because it's important. If you don't have sales, there's nothing. What do you have? You have a nonprofit. That's what you have. You have a volunteer organization. And I'll tell you this, lots of businesses are a single sales strategy and or sales force away from abundant success. Sales is that important. And how you make the sale in your business is totally up to you. Okay? How can I say this? Here it is. As important as it is, it can't exist alone. Sales doesn't exist in isolation. This is where marketing comes into the picture. Digital marketing is a great aid for sales, especially these days. And in fact, great marketing can shorten the sales cycle tremendously. For any sales rep, a shortened sales cycle is early Christmas because that means I get my commission sooner, baby. Right? Like I'm leading that leaderboard. Right? But marketing is important. This is the like, know, and trust factor marketing creates. Marketing establishes that, and then sales capitalizes on that. And what does it look like? Simply put, it looks like data, right? The data that marketing collects. So marketing is looking at behaviors, trends, right? Preferences. It's trying to collect as much data as possible. That's why I love digital marketing, because we can collect all of this data. And then sales uses that data to close quicker. That's why alignment is important. Sales has to tell marketing what kind of data it needs. Marketing has to go out and get it. Now we put automation in that. Oh my goodness, we've got a dangerous equation. Can you imagine an automated marketing system that's acquiring leads, capturing information to help sales close more easily, whether it's a person or a technological sales event? Those two in sync, perfectly aligned. When someone says funnel, that's really the only funnel that matters. Being able to capture leads, nurture them. And by nurture, it means collecting information, collecting data so that sales can use that data to close. Right? Marketing's job is to put the basketball as close to the hoop as possible so sales doesn't have to work as hard, jump as high to dunk. So remember this, whatever marketing doesn't do, sales has to make up for. Okay. That just means the salesperson, the sales event is going to have to work harder. But whatever sales can't do, marketing can help, but marketing can't make up for it. Marketing can't do sales. You know, you could be a great marketer, build the like, know, and trust factor, and perhaps people will sell themselves. Right? Like that would happen. But market cannot replace sales, where marketing is so dynamic that sales can often reach over marketing and do it. Right? Maybe another company has done the marketing and positioning and the like, know, and trust factor. They came to you, highly recommended and referred. So that referral did all the marketing for you. Now sales, with no marketing in place of their own, just has to know just a bit to make that handoff. Not frictionless, I should say, not frictionless, but frictionless, and then close the deal. Right? They're totally distinct, but I just haven't seen a case where marketing can make up for sales. It just doesn't, but I've seen many cases where sales can make up for a lack of marketing. It's not easy, everybody. And by defining the two, I'm stating a way of operating a business I do not recommend. Don't get me wrong. You need both. Okay, so don't think for 1 minute the purpose of me on this podcast is to tell you to choose. No, I'm telling you where to start. Right? Which also brings forth the question that I'm often asked. And I'll give you my approach. And what should I automate first then? Chris, you're saying sales is more important, but marketing plays a role. Like, where should I start? Right? And I wrote a blog post about this. I'll put the link in the show notes. But the answer is you always start closest to the money. Start with sales. Start with sales. Automating any process that directly impacts sales positively is always a win. Always. You never lose. You never lose automating your sales process positively. Okay? Then you can go from there. Where do you go from there, Chris? Well, traditionally, I like to work backwards. And once I have my sales system fully optimized and in place, I like to go tidy up my marketing so that I can put more leads in that sales system. But experience has shown me that sales and fulfillment are tied. If I close, but I can't fulfill, it's almost as if I should not have closed, because that bad experience is going to go much further than the good experience. I got a good friend. His name is Greg Hickman. He teaches agencies how to productize their services and close more clients. And part of it is getting their fulfillment in place where they can handle more clients. A heavy focus on that, because what he's seen is that a lot of people are like, I need more leads. I need more leads. I need more leads. And, if you give them more leads, they can't handle it. Right. The experience is bad. So I like to bring forth the importance of fulfillment. What happens after the sale? OK, so you can make a case that you should focus on that next. Start with sales, focus on fulfillment, then go to marketing. And when I say this, listen, this is a dynamic process. I am by nature a linear thinker, but this breaks that. You're not going to say, okay, sales, then fulfillment, then marketing. Okay, sales, marketing, fulfillment. I'm giving you a framework, but guess what? You need some basic marketing in place, some basic automated marketing in place to get to sales, right? Like you need leads. So yes, you need to have some basic marketing in place to get sales, right? But when you have that lead generator in place where people are showing up, you really need to fine tune the product market fit in sales, because when you optimize the marketing and turn on that faucet and you're able to close more because you fine tune that system, you also need to work on the fulfillment. So you're working on all of them. But I guess the purpose of me creating this podcast and saying which one is more important, I need you to always be focusing on your sales efficiency. Okay. And this is coming from a marketer. I have grown to know sales is important. If I want to validate a new idea, I'm validating it with sales. Guess what? I don't necessarily need a funnel to validate a new business idea. I need a document where it's clearly written out what I'm going to do, so I'm clear what to communicate, and a list full of people I can personally reach out to. That's it. No landing page, no email follow-up sequence. To be honest, if I just do traditional one-on-one outreach with a sales event, whether it's me on the phone or sending them to a page where they can sign up, I can get started. And that idea, people pay me money, it vetted it. It's proven it. Okay, I can sell this product. Let me work on automating the lead generation to get more people in. Then when I get more people in, I'm like, okay, it worked for a small amount, but it's not working for a larger amount. I need to really fine tune my sales here. Fine tune it. It works. Okay, more leads, right? At the same time, I'm focusing on the fulfillment too. But you get what I mean when I say sales needs to be on top of mind all the time. Maybe that's the easiest way to say it, everybody. All that to say, sales needs to be on top of mind all the time. Your business will thank you for it. Your family will thank you for it. You, future you, will thank you for it. Get the sales, everybody. And I'm not saying go and just get money. Be money hungry. Do it in a way that fits your business and your brand. But just understand there's no level of marketing automation that's going to replace sales. You've got to be good at it. You've got to be good at it. So who needs to hear that? Who needs to hear that? Seriously. I mean, I felt it like towards the end, it was just kind of heavy. I don't want it to be too heavy. I want it to be enlightening. Okay. We went through a lot, and maybe just the idea of sales terrifies you. Or maybe you know somebody who's terrified at sales. Or maybe you're that person in that business that's like, look, guys, we need to focus on sales. Is anybody like not seeing these numbers? Right? If that's you or you know that person, share this episode with them. This specific episode, say, hey, you need to listen to this episode. That's it. I'm not asking you to tell them to subscribe and all of that. Get this information to them ASAP so that they can change how they're operating in their business and change the result that they're getting from it. Okay? And if you found this episode valuable and you haven't left a 5-star rating and review and you're not subscribed, please make sure you do all three: subscribe, 5-star rating, and review. It also helps if you download it. Okay? Make sure you share and help me get the word out, everybody. Listen, I'm no filter. Hashtag no filter. I'm giving you unadulterated, unfiltered. This is true. This is what I've learned by witnessing and a lot through experience. Okay. So this episode and all other episodes, as well as the show notes, will be available at automationbridge.com/podcast. And as always, until the next episode, automate responsibly, my friends.